And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big Sean McCarthy.
That's right. You try to mix it all up. It doesn't matter because what you're getting is another edition of the Weighing In podcast. We are ready to talk about some of the fights that are coming up. But first thing that we have to do is we have to say it's Podcast Dave's birthday.
Dave's birthday. Happy birthday,
so
you old son of a bitch.
And so I want to, you know what, Dave? When I was on LAPD, we used to have a special song for everyone that it was their day. And Josh and I think we're going to sing that for you. So here we go. Are you ready? Hooray for Dave. Hooray at last. Hooray for Dave. He's a horse's ass. Him. Fuck him.
Oh, beautiful. Sorry, I was trying to get the rhythm of John.
My God, you were out there, mister. But happy birthday,
I bombed
Dave.
It, bro.
How old are you now?
Happy birthday, my brother.
35.
35. That's like 53, dude. 35 is the new 53.
Yeah.
Feels like
if you're dyslexic.
You better keep on running, dude.
Hey, man, I'm running every day.
Geez.
I'm running every day.
Good for you, man.
Are you?
Yeah.
Are you really? Still running those slow miles, huh?
7:30, bro. 7:30 a mile.
7:30
No,
miles.
it's
Really?
down to 7:30.
That's
It was
fantastic.
8:30 before.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it was like 8 something. Yeah.
No,
good.
man,
Surprised how
absolutely
fast you run when the cops are chasing you.
Oh, you can run a lot faster than
Is it-
7:30.
Did you see it on Facebook, Josh? My birthday.
What do you, hey,
Oh.
we know these things. We have
Oh.
information. We have
Bro.
people that talk to us.
Oh,
You
I
can't
deliberately
hide
never told you
anything. You
guys.
can't
You
hide
have
something
to
from
know.
us.
Come on, you have to know. I'm so good at this. I can barely spell my name, but I can remember your fucking birthday, you son of a
There you
gun.
go.
No. Good stuff, man. So you're 35,
Yep.
definitely getting older. I'm glad you're trying to age yourself down by staying healthy and, staying in shape, doing all those things. I mean, you have a lot more free time on your hands since you moved to Austin.
Free time, man.
Right,
Yes.
seems.
What do you mean?
Well,
free time?
I mean, like, that's all he does is free time.
No, dude, I
That's
get two young boys. Are you kidding? Lucky if I
Two
get
young boys.
Like if I get a free sandwich. In fact, you know what? Actually, that does remind me. The one thing I do have is I have some free Indian food at a restaurant that would give me some bad service. So I forgot about that.
What? Hold it. You have a restaurant that gave you bad service, so now you're going to go back because it's free.
Yeah.
The manager
gonna
offered
spend
me a
it.
free meal just to make it right.
All right.
Wow. I don't know.
Enjoy
those
that
are
free
like
meal.
the times. Yeah. I'm not sure I'm going back, bro. I don't
So-
think. And if I did go back, I'm not collecting on that free meal. Yeah, I'm not.
That's
going.
all, dude. That's like when people send their food back. Oh, my steak is not cooked enough. Can you have them cook it more? Yeah, they'll cook it with some secret sauce too. No, I'm not sending my food back. Someone's spitting in it.
35. Any plans to travel anywhere? Like go back home, see mom?
Well, we were trying to. Oh man, so we were trying to plan a trip to Scotland before the end of the year, but so I had to put my passport in. So the only place I could get a passport appointment was an hour and a half away near Waco. So I booked the appointment. It was for Benji and I, and then I drove all the way up there, gave her the application forms, and she's like, "Oh, where's the baby?" And I was like, "Oh, he's at daycare." I don't know you had to have the baby with you. I don't know you had to have the baby with you. I just thought,
Yeah, how did you take the picture?
and I had the birth certificate.
Oh, you
picture.
brought the
I had it all.
picture.
I had everything.
Oh.
I had an application, and and she was like, "No, you gotta have the baby here." So I screwed it up, and then it pushed it out about another little bit. So then I just had to figure out again another appointment to go back, and probably not gonna happen this year. So we're thinking probably May at this point. But I'm coming to San Jose in January, so
Okay.
hopefully if
It's
you're
been-
still there.
It was raining like cats and dogs today here.
Oh yeah, it's been raining here too.
It's cold. It was like 48 degrees. It was raining. I was like, this is fucking freezing. Who signed up for this shit?
So there was actually water falling from the skies, and you think it's
Yeah,
cats and
finally,
dogs.
by the way. Finally.
Actually enough
So
to
they-
get your car wet, and so it was so heavy.
Yeah, I went out there with one of those spray guns that sprays suds and soap on it, and I just started washing my car. You know, because I knew it wasn't gonna rain all day. I just let the rain rinse it off. I'm saving water, buddy. I know what I'm doing,
dude. See, the ecology. You're very conscious of. I'm very proud of you, Josh.
Yeah.
Is that because water's so expensive now with the inflation?
So ridiculous, man. Not the water. It's not the water. Like they're having you ration your water here. Pretty soon they're gonna have us rationing our gas as well. It's out of control in this state, man. It's crazy that. Anyways, I won't get into it.
Haven't you heard the new one? We have 25 days left of diesel fuel in this country. 25 days, they say.
Well,
that's not good.
Electric cars.
That's not good.
I got an electric car.
You better have a lot more than electric cars. You better have electric semi-trucks. Because if you don't have diesel fuel, you ain't getting nothing delivered to your stores.
John, I thought you were growing chickens.
Right? I am. I got plenty of food, dude. I got no concerns.
See, so I got my electric car. I'll just drive over to your place and we'll be good to go.
Bring your electric car.
Bring it. Yeah, and then we can use the battery to charge your little shed that you live in.
No, I'll just use my diesel fueled skid steer to drive over the top of that son of a bitch.
I love it. It's so crazy. We just all live in different places. Like you live in Tennessee, right outside of Nashville, and Dave lives in
I don't live
Austin,
outside of Nashville, but it's okay.
Whatever.
You can tell everyone
it's
that.
It's in the middle between Nashville and Knoxville. Am I right? Is it pretty much right in the middle?
Yeah, that's only like a 200 and some mile stretch.
No, whatever.
Is Glenn Jacobs your mayor?
Glenn Jacobs is the mayor of Knoxville, baby. That's right. Yeah. Kane, baby. Kane.
Do you call him the big red machine when you refer to him?
You know what? You call him Mr. Mayor.
Oh, I call him the big red.
Is he your mayor?
He's still in shape, man.
Yeah. Is he your mayor?
Yeah.
Oh, you're not. So you're basically your residence considered Knoxville?
Nah,
so you're far from Knoxville.
Josh, why don't you just give him his address? Jeez,
there you go.
I'm gonna do a video where when I first go to John's farm, I'm doing a video with a map quest and everything. I'm lining that shit up. Come get your fucking free eggs at Big John's house.
Come get your chicken.
Shit. All right, guys. Let's get into some fight talk. Do you have?
Yeah, UFC.
Go ahead. UFC Fight Night. Well, it's not
Vegas
214.
64.
It's
64.
64. There you go.
That 64. Comes right after 63, which was the last one. See.
I forgot already.
It's a tough one.
So you know, John, last week and this week don't seem to be very memorable. But let's get into it. Moreno Rodriguez versus Amanda Lemos. It should be a good fight. It should be a really
good fight.
Yeah. Lemos is tough. She's a dog. She's someone that's going to come aggressive with the hands. And I know people are going to say that I said something wrong. You guys, I'm not referring to her in terms of her being ugly. I'm referring to her in terms of her being aggressive.
Her toughness.
The ways she fights. Her toughness, you guys, please. Okay, I want to make sure because I know how the media, some people out there, they like to twist some words, something you say, and they want to just go ahead and run with it, and they want to go on a rant on their shows and talk about all this. Oh, I've got ammo, and I've got this. They want to say stupid shit. Well, guess what? I'm just clarifying so there's no misunderstandings because I know how the media likes to twist their shit. All right.
You could say, heck yeah, they do.
That was very good, podcast day. Oh, yeah. Heck yeah, they do. All right. So, Amanda Lemos versus Moreno Rodriguez. John, honestly, I'm going to lean a little bit towards Marina. She seems a little bit more, I look at the way she fights more composed. She's able to slow the pace down. She understands the distance. She understands the top control. She understands how to get the fight there. Lemos sometimes fights a little bit careless. Will make mistakes. She relies a lot off of her speed and her athleticism, but aggressiveness that also could get her in trouble against someone like Moreno Rodriguez. Am I wrong at all? Am I leaning the right way?
No, I don't think you're wrong. I think that Marina has proven that, through her fights, she's very, very composed as a fighter. She knows where she wants to be. She wants to be on her feet. She wants to be in the stand-up. She wants to be the person that is controlling the fight with her pressure. This is a fight that I honestly think she's going to have a hard time controlling that throughout the fight. Not saying that she won't at times, but Lemos, recently she had the win against Michelle Waterson Gomez, And it was a really dominant performance, very, very dominant, and she looked really good. But before that, she had that loss to Jessica Andrade where she got caught in that standing arm triangle, if you remember. You know, and so there's those things where you look, everything, you know, before that she had a ton of wins. But Marina is that person she's sharp, you know, and she's so good at what she does and how she does it. And she's had, you know, wins against the same, you know, they've fought the same people. Michelle Waterson has fought both of them. And, you know, they both have wins against her. And I say that based upon, I think Michelle Waterson is a really good fighter. She's good in the stand-up. She's got a good ground game. She's very good as far as her anti-wrestling at times. And so it's a good measurement of the two and how they did against her. The one that you look at Marina, and the one thing that you look at with her is, can she be taken down? Because the person that beat her is Carla Esparza. Carla Esparza, with her wrestling, was able to take her down. Now, Carla's the champ now, but with that wrestling ability, now, Amanda Lemos, she can wrestle at times. She likes to stand up. I don't know if it would be the smartest fight overall for her just to want to go out and be in a stand-up war with Marina Rodriguez. I think Marina has a lot of tools when it comes to that, and she's got the length. I think if Amanda Lemos does bring in some of that wrestling aspect, and she does make Marina have to think about the fact that I will work at taking you down. I will come in and shoot off of throwing my hands. That's something that's going to change what Marina can do as far as the way she approaches her stand-up. And it could, you know, even out that, you know, what they're doing while they are engaged there. And if Amanda Lemos gets her to the ground, she does have, you know, a decent ground attack. It's not that Marina doesn't know what she's doing down there, but I would probably give the edge on the ground to Lemos. So this is a really good fight. Both of them only have one loss to, I think Marina's got one loss. Lemos has got 2 losses overall, both somewhere around 16, 14, 15, 16 wins apiece. So it's as good a matchup as you're going to get in the strawweight division without it being the championship fight.
This show is brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie.ag brings you some of the best betting odds across every platform. It's an online gambling site at MyBookie.ag. Use our promo code weighing in. You get some extra spending cash with your first initial buy-in. On top of that, you only have to bet your winnings one time. Most of these online gambling sites, you have to bet it 3, 4. I've heard all the way up to 10 times. At MyBookie.ag, when you use our promo code weighing in, you only have to bet your winnings one time. Then you can pull your winnings out and do whatever you want with it. But that's only available at MyBookie.ag with our promo code weighing in. Yeah, I'm surprised that... Can you pull up Marina, please? And then I'm surprised that she's not fighting for a title yet.
Well, and that's the whole thing. You know, really, you look at it. She had the draw against Cavillo, and then she had the loss to Esparza. Other than that, she's been perfect.
Yeah, Amanda Hebus, Waterson, Dern, Jan,
Tisha Torres,
impressive. Yeah, Tisha Torres. I mean, like she's got some big time wins over some people. The loss to Carla, who's now the champion, like you were saying. Dave, can you scroll up though? What's her reach? And what's Lemos' reach?
Reach isn't on here. Whose reach?
Okay. So I want to know what Rodriguez's reach is and what Lemos' reach is.
Okay, I'll get them just now.
I do agree with John, but look, when someone's longer, that can be used as an advantage, 100%. But when someone is faster,
make it a disadvantage.
Yes, and I feel like if she doesn't return her combinations back to her face right away, Lemos could be a really good counter striker, or she could get in and get out before she's able to get her hands on her or land the shots. Rodriguez land the shots. Lemos can get in and out. So Lemos is 65. What's Rodriguez?
So is Marina as well.
She's 65. So they're both 65. So the speed of the fighter is going to go to Lemos. She's going to be the faster fighter with the hands. I'm not sure in terms. Obviously, I think Marina's probably going to have a little bit more power, but it depends. If you get hit with 2 punches in the amount of time it takes me to land 1, that makes a big difference. Lemos, I think, is going to be able to land the faster combinations. She can land a 1-2 before Marina is able to land a 1 or a straight right or whatever it is. So I'm looking at that could be a big problem for her, John, as the fight goes on. If Lemos can just control her energy so she doesn't slow down too much where Rodriguez will start to touch her up, start to press her a little bit, maybe to the fence, or put her back to the fence, and try to get her to be more like a sitting duck. Okay, if I get you to go this way, now I've got you trapped against the fence. You can't go backwards. You can only move to the left. Throw my hook, throw my right hand, throw my straight, whatever it is. So I look at, when I'm watching her fight, when I'm watching Lemos fight, is she running so much that she's losing her energy? And is she only being a counter striker? Or is she able to move Marina backwards? Marino's very hard to move backwards. Most of the time, she takes the center of the cage and she makes people fight at her pace. So this is going to be a hard fight for Lemos. And I think a lot of it's going to be, for me, I'm going to look at how she's fighting in this first round to see how the rest of the fight's going to go. It's a 5-round fight. Yep. Marina's not someone that expends energy in bad places. She fights composed. She fights relaxed. She fights disciplined. Lemos tends to make mistakes. And as the fight goes on, those mistakes add up.
Yeah, in my opinion, Lemos is the stronger fighter, stronger person out there. I think their speed is comparable. I think she's just as fast as Marina. I think Marina is more accurate and more of a sniper with her shots. Okay. And that accuracy can really affect, Lemos if she can get off on that. And if Lemos is not able to use a good counter, then it's going to really have an effect. But as far as who's got the heavier strikes, I got to go with Lemos. I think Lemos has got the heavier hands. Yeah. She may not have as good a front kick or anything like that as Marina does. Marina uses it very well, almost like a jab at times. But Lemos is strong, and she's got good speed. I don't think there's going to be a speed disadvantage or advantage with either one.
Okay. I look at Lemos as being the faster fighter, but I could also see that slowing down as she gets tired.
Before I thought you said Rodriguez was the faster fighter.
No. Lemos is the faster fighter.
Okay, all right.
No. Rodriguez is this. Rodriguez. I agree with you. No, I'm saying
more accurate.
Lemos is the faster fighter, but she tends to leave herself open. She's not as disciplined with her.
Do you think Rodriguez is stronger than Lemos though?
I don't know.
Man,
I thought she was bigger. I thought she would be the bigger fighter because when I look at Rodriguez, she seems like she's. Yeah, maybe it's just because of that, but I always look at her and I see seems a lot bigger than everybody else. But then I look at her and I'm like, she fought Tisha Torres, she fought Michelle Waterson. They're not extremely the tallest. They're not the tallest girls in the weight class, by the way. So maybe that's why I'm getting the fact that I felt like she was a lot bigger than Lemos.
She's going to have like a 3-inch reach. Height advantage. I think.
Is it 3 inches?
Is it
5'7" and 5'4"?
5'7", 5'4". Okay,
wow.
3 inches.
Okay. Yep.
So
that's maybe why I was thinking that she was the bigger fighter, but I thought Lemos was faster. I thought Marina is going to be tighter and more disciplined with her hands going there and back. She'll be more disciplined
with her
combinations. Throws a lot straighter
shots.
Yeah. And Lemos she will wind up. She will load up. She will throw 2s and 3s, maybe even 4s. But then there's a lot of circling out there and a lot of running when someone like Marina, she just stands her ground. She moves her head slightly, try to make you miss the combination, and then she tries to make you pay, or she tries to come in with offense and make you move and then lead you into where she wants you to go. She's a very disciplined fighter.
Yeah, she is.
So this I think it's going to be a good main event, but I look for Marina to probably start to run away with it if she can survive the first 2 rounds of the power of Lemos and the speed. I don't know about the power, but I think that the speed could end up being a problem with the amount of shots she can throw in a short duration in the beginning. I think Lemos will be the faster fighter.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're close in the speed. I think Lemos might be a little faster. I think she's stronger. I don't think she's as accurate with her shots because she, as you say, she wings things in looping fashions much more often than Rodriguez, who she's got, she goes straight down the pipe, man. She's very good with just quick, straight shots. Even her kicks are that. So I would probably say, she might have the advantage in this if you're looking at the betting odds wise, but it's a really close fight between the two.
Next co-main event,
Neil Magny against Daniel Rodriguez. This is one of those ones you look at and, Daniel Rodriguez is coming off of that win. It was, I'm not saying it was a close fight against Jiang Li, Jolien. I can't even say his damn name. Say it again.
Jing Li Liang.
Jing Li Liang, yeah. Or Li Jing Liang, whichever way they go with it. But Li had a good fight, and a lot of people thought he won against Dan Rodriguez. It was close. Rodrigo's a little bit bigger than him as far as, the weight and everything, but you take a look at this fight, and this is not going to be an easy fight for Daniel Rodriguez. I look at, Neil Magny he's a difficult person in the stand-up, and if this thing gets into a ground battle, look out. Daniel Rodriguez is in trouble against Neil Magny on the ground. Now, can Neil Magny get it there? Yes, he can. He has that ability. His wrestling's a lot better than people give him credit for. Daniel Rodriguez has good wrestling defense, but when you got Neil Magny just touch, he's almost got that, Nate Diaz style of just putting a relentless volume attack on you that just breaks things down, and then you make the mistake and he gets into you, get you off your feet. His ground game is outstanding. And Daniel Rodriguez, I think, has the power in this. This is not an easy fight for him. I really look. I always say that, anybody that fights Neil Magny, when you go to the office on that day, your hands are full. You got a real fight, because Neil Magny can fight, and he's sometimes he doesn't have the best fight. Happens to anybody. Yeah. But man, when he's on, look out.
Yeah, but I also look at with Daniel though too, is that every time someone seems to count him out, he seems to find a way to make it a good fight and get the win. I look with him as no different than the Diaz brothers, right? Everyone's like, oh no, Nick Diaz is not going to beat Robbie Lawler. Look what he did. Nate Diaz is not going to beat Conor. Look what he did. They find ways, and Daniel Rodriguez the same way. He finds a way to win. Doesn't make it look pretty, but he finds a way to win. Now, I agree with you on the ground. Neil Magny, I think, to me, is going to be the better fighter on the ground if he can get it there, which I think he can as well. The way he does things, like grabbing the body lock, trip with the long legs, he's able to kind of hike it up enough to get them down to the ground.
He's also able to elevate just enough to where his opponent can't touch the ground, and he does nice little bends it to one side or the other and hits the ground.
Exactly. So, but look, in these type of fights, in these type of situations, Daniel Rodriguez will throw punches and combinations, and he'll throw heat. Neil Magny is obviously the more refined fighter, and I'm going to lean towards Neil Magny, but I'm not going to count Daniel Rodriguez out.
No, you can't count him out.
I think he's going to make it a better fight than worth leading on to. And look, can you click on Neil for me there, Dave? With Neil, like you said, John, he tends to fight he has momentary lapses in his fighting career. Yeah. And if you scroll down, look, there's guys in here that he shouldn't have lost to, and guys that he probably shouldn't have beat. Let's see, Rachmanov is a dynamite fighter. I'm not going to say anything about that fight. He's got a win over Max Griffin, got a win over Jeff Neal.
That's a hell of a win.
Got a loss to Chiesa. I look at Chiesa and I'm like, okay, look, Chiesa I think is an outstanding fighter. Fantastic fighter. He's from the Spokane area. I'm from that area. Very good on the ground. I went to high school up that way. He's very good on the ground. Stand up needs some work, but he's not afraid to throw. Fantastic fighter. But at the time, he's coming off of, Neil Magny's coming off the win over Robbie Lawler. He's coming off of the win off of Jing Li or Li Jianglang. And then he's also got the win over Martin. He lost to Ponzinibbio. That's another fight, but he got clipped, got caught. I don't know, with Ponzinibbio, he should have beat Ponzinibbio. Okay? Chiesa, he could have beat Chiesa. He'd be looking at potentially fighting for a title had he not lost those two fights. Seems like he gets on a roll, loses to someone he probably could have beat, shouldn't have. Because you got wins over guys like Robbie Lawler. You got Jeff Neal. You got wins over Max. Max had a good performance last weekend. Just good fights, but he tends to have momentary lapses when he's out there. And this could be one of those nights where he does that against Rodriguez. You never know.
Dave, do me a favor. Roll that thing up a little bit more for past his fight with Ponzinibbio. Okay. There's one thing you'll notice on there. He doesn't have 2 losses in a row.
No, that's true. That's true. Look at it. Win over Hector Lombard, a win over Kelvin Gastelum.
Win over Johnny Hendricks.
Eric
Condit.
Silva. These are big wins, man.
Hell yes.
Big wins. And there's no shame in losing to Damian Maia. Maia was on a tear at the time, just fucking working everyone. But like I said, I agree. I'm going to lean towards Neil Magny because he is a fantastic fighter. He's He's so well-rounded. He poses threats that most fighters don't because of the reach and the range and the way he mixes combinations. He's got pretty good cardio, so can set the pace.
Oh, he
does everything really well. And he just flusters people, I think, with how long he is. Like, I can't get in. I'm getting hit. It's like punches, combinations coming from different angles. You got to worry about that head kick coming from fucking 6 feet away. You know what I mean? So as if you're a guy going, okay, I'm going to throw this right hand. Shit, I can't let my hand be out there too long. And so Dan Rodriguez got his hands full, but I think it's going to be a more interesting fight than we're letting on to be. Next.
We'll see. Chase Sherman getting another shot in the UFC. Chase Sherman, they bring him back. They let him go. They bring him back. And then they always need him for fights, and he always steps up and takes them on. Going against Josh Parisian, who we've seen both of these guys like to be in the stand-up. Neither guy really likes to have a ground attack. Parisian, a little bit more than Chase Sherman as far as at least willing to go to the ground at times, but he likes to be in the stand-up along with Chase. Heavyweights, you never know what's going to happen. Either guy could touch the other's chin and it could be lights out. So
I wonder what their deal is with Chase.
I don't know, but I'll tell you what,
they bring him back.
He has been a great, I don't want to say employee. He's not an employee, but he's been great for the UFC as far as he fights everyone that they put in. He doesn't complain about anyone. He takes any fight they give him, and he goes out and he gives it his best. And then, what more can you ask?
That's true. I mean, if you're a promoter, right, you're looking for those guys that don't give you a lot of lip, don't talk back a lot, and they go out there and you perform the best you can.
They fight as hard as they can.
Some.
That's right.
Especially in that heavyweight division. There's just not a lot of talent, to be honest. John, you can vouch for me on this.
There's not.
You get into that top 8, maybe top 6, and then beyond that, there's such a huge gap between the rest.
It. Yeah.
It's like top 4, then top 5, 6. If it gets a little shady, and then it just drops off. There's no one. So when you're, look, that goes across every promotion. You know, I mean, and the bigger the promotion, the higher, heavyweights.
Bigger athletes are playing other sports. Let's just be honest.
Yeah. Yep. If you have any type of athleticism, you're definitely not trying to be a fighter. Majority of them are not. So, that's why it baffles me, right? Guys like Greg Hardy, that just you had it in the NFL, you just blew it with whatever it is you were doing. I mean, it wasn't like he was a bad player. He was a good player. People took.
What are you talking? He's all pro.
Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, he's all pro. People were taking a chance. Coaches and owners were taking chances on him, and he blew it so bad he ended up being a fighter. I'm like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to be kicking yourself in the ass. But look, Chase is definitely one of those guys. He comes out, he gives it all, and it should be a fun fight. I don't know how you say his name. We call him Tiger. I call him Tiger anyways at AK.
Tiger Ulanbekov.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Young kid. I remember the first time I ever grappled him at AK. He's good, but he's so nice. I'm like, are you sure you want to be a fighter? Are you sure? Because he is just such a nice kid. Super respectful. Doesn't speak a lick of English. Maybe he does now, but back then when I was training with him, not a lick. He would just look at me and nod his head. I knew he had no clue what the fuck I was saying. And he would look at Khabib and he would look at Islam. He'd look at somebody to help translate. Can you help? So, but what a great kid. And he's gotten so much better. He's got that Taekwondo style stand up.
Yep.
He's got great side kicks. He trains a lot with Umar Nurmagomedov. And he's got that style of stand-up, but now his wrestling and grappling has really come a long way. His grappling was a little weak when he first came over to AK, and it was just from him being young. I believe he was still 20. How old is he? Can you look him up, Dave? Ulanbekov, yeah. How old is he? He's a baby, I think, when he first came in, about
31 now.
Oh, geez. Yeah, he was I think he was a baby, 23, 24. So, man, that's how long it's been since I trained with him. Yeah, I mean, grappling with him, training with him. He's matured a lot, but he is such a talent to have. He'll fight anybody. I'm looking forward to seeing him fight. Nathan Manis, go ahead, John. What do you think?
He's good. And you look at the style wise and where they're strong.
Don't say he's gonna be my boy. Don't do that, John.
I didn't say
you saw how it went against Charles Oliveira, right? Don't make me call him up and say, hey. Don't make me call up.
Don't make
Tiger
me
and be like,
call,
yo,
man.
I need you to prove John wrong again.
You.
Yeah, John went against. I want you to prove John wrong again. Come on, let's go.
No, I think it actually is. It's a really good matchup because they're both good in the stand up. Manis is good in the stand-up. He's got a lot of good, movement. He's got good kicks. His hands are good. He's good on the ground. I think this fight it's a great matchup in the flyweight division. Both of these guys have a lot to bring to it. So it's a toss-up fight, really. I mean, I honestly give the edge to Ulanbekov just a little bit.
Ooh.
I think his wrestling has gotten to the point where it's not only his offensive wrestling, it's his defensive wrestling. Because when he first came in, he was able to be taken down, but he got back to his feet. So you really, I can't say anything bad about it, but it's his ability to be offensive now, and he will use the takedown. We'll see what he does. But on even off of his back, Manis is dangerous, so he's got to be very careful with it.
See, you guys, this is what happened. Islam Makhachev got John to come over to the dark side. Now he's on Ulanbekov's side. John is finally coming over to the dark side. Okay. He's finally starting to listen to Thompson.
There we go.
Jeez, man. See, it only took you till you were 60.
But I'll tell you what, a fight that is really a good fight is the one Grant Dawson against Marco Madsen. Like, Mark is, he's become more than just the wrestler. He started off pure wrestler, takes people down, and people can say what they want, mauls them, dry humps them, whatever, but you can't get away from him. Yeah. But his stand-up has gotten much better now. He's actually being competitive in the stand-up. With Grant Dawson, we've seen Grant in his one loss. You know what? He got exhausted, and if there's a person that you cannot get exhausted against, it is Marco Madsen, because he has got a gas tank and he will go. So I like Grant Dawson as far as, him being good everywhere. His striking is good. His wrestling is good. His submission game is good. He has got more elements to his game than Marco Madsen, but what Marco Madsen is good at, he's way better at than what Grant Dawson is in the wrestling realm. And so if Grant Dawson cannot stop Madsen from taking him down, it's going to be a long night for him.
It's not always about losing the takedown, John, though. It's about what you do with it when you get taken down. You fight it so hard that you leave yourself in a shitty position when you hit the ground. A lot of the younger fighters, they should know that, look, if you feel like you're already losing this takedown, don't fight it to the point where you end up in mount or you end up in side control. You want to try to make sure you're fighting to a position where when you land, you're able to pull into half guard. You're able to pull into some sort of butterfly sweep. You're able to get an underhook and come underneath and come out the side, with the underhook. You can't afford with someone like Madsen, you can't afford to leave yourself out of position or fight the takedown position so much that you end up with your back against the fence in side control and him just laying into you with knees to the body and elbows to the face and stuck there. And so as long as I think Dawson does that, I think he's going to show a lot in terms of things up the middle. Anytime you fight a really good wrestler, everything up the middle, push kick up the middle to the gut, to the face, make them guess, flinch the knee, feint the knee. All of those things are very effective. If you have a good side kick, throw that little thigh kick, what is it called? The oblique kick. That thing, fucking do that thing as much as you possibly can. One thing that wrestlers are afraid of is their knees being blown out. Anytime you start doing that oblique kick, they all start going, fuck, what's going on? This is not. I mean, you got to think, wrestlers, their whole life, their biggest fear was to tear an ACL because the rest of their career was going to be fucked. Not fucked, but it was going to be a lot harder to get things done. Just the stiffness, the tightness, the strength to rebuild, all of those things play a big factor. So if you start doing that oblique kick against a good wrestler, start push kicking up the middle to the face, the body, those type of things make a big difference against a wrestler. Keep him guessing, feints, movements. Make sure if he likes to wrestle off that right lead leg or the left lead leg, which way are you circling? That benefits a lot too. Is if your right lead leg, I believe I'm circling to my right. So if you're off that right lead leg, I'm circling to my right. If he's going to wrestle off that right lead leg, I don't want to circle to the left. So all he's got to do is just pivot and go. So just different stuff. I mean, like there's things that he can do to try to minimize how often he shoots and make him second guess how he sets up his takedowns. Yeah. But good fight though. I think so too, John.
It is. It's a really good. You want a fun fight? Derek Minor, however you want to say it. I say it's Minor, going against Nurdembek Shailan. I can't say his name. It's a horrible name to say, but he is a fun fighter to watch. He's got a lot of experience. He has fought a ton. He's got a lot, somewhere in close to 50 fights now, I would say. The guy has got a ton of experience, but we've seen that Derek is great hitting the ground. He's got a ton of submissions. He's a very good wrestler. His striking is proficient. This is one of those ones. This is a really good fight that can go back and forth, and both guys could submit each other. Both guys could end up really being, in a bad position at times. There's striking is kind of equivalent. The one thing that I've seen a difference in, I've never seen Chael get tired where I've seen Derek Minner get tired. And that could be the difference. If Chael's able to push him to that point, it starts to take away with what Derek Minner is able to do.
Got it. John, is there any other fights on this card you want to talk about? Scroll down there, Dave. I can't see the bottom of the card. Oh, it says.
I think, the one, if you're going to look at one that actually has some meaning to it, Polyana Viana against Jinyu Fry. It's a good fight. Jinyu just, I hate to say it, she's too small for damn strawweight. She's an atomweight fighter, and I know that sounds crazy, but she's a good fighter. She just doesn't seem to have the size, and she's strong. So I don't want to say she doesn't have the strength, but just doesn't have the size sometimes to stay with some of these girls as the fight goes on. And Polyana's good fighter, is going to push the pressure on her and stuff, but it's a good fight. And it's one that you look at and you go, skill-wise, both of them have a lot of skill.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap up our UFC Fight Night 64. That I see what
Correct.
I did there.
64.
64. All right,
good.
let's see. What else do we got here, Dave? Do we have any fight news? Do we have any other fights that are coming up? What do you got?
Yeah, so we had a bunch of fights announced over the last few days here. We didn't get them fitted in the last show, so we brought them over to the midweek show. And so we have confirmation of Figueiredo versus Moreno 4, and that's going to happen in the UFC Brazil card in January, UFC 283.
I mean, these are the two best guys in the division, so I'm excited to see the fight. I mean,
Two best guys in the UFC's division, let's be honest. I'm just being honest, dude.
Wait, what is there? This is 125, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Who else has this division? One does.
There's a guy named DJ out there. I'm not sure who, something about
Do you think
mouse.
DJ can beat these guys?
Yes. Let's just be honest.
I'm asking. Look, DJ's older now.
Yeah,
DJ's not the same DJ
and
from 4 years ago.
He would beat both of them.
You think, okay. I'm not going to argue with you. I was asking. You've been in the cage with DJ.
Yep.
He's tiny, so I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know, like, in terms of when I start looking at them, they all look small. Like, and I'm not a big guy, so it's nice for me to see able to finally say that to somebody else. Yeah. They all look small at 125, but DJ is just so damn good. Extremely talented. His fight IQ is probably, I think, the best.
Better than all of them.
Better than all. The only one I would say maybe that had a little bit better would be not better, but equal to is Henry Cejudo.
But Henry's fighting in a different weight class now. That's why.
Yeah. But that was my point. Was
absolutely.
Outside of that, it would be Henry. Henry makes the
Henry's
adjustments. He's very
smart.
Very smart.
Yeah.
Both these fighters are very talented, very good.
They are.
I'm going to lean towards DJ as well. Moreno, I feel like he fell in love after he won the title. He fell in love with everything that came with it. Started reading the paper news clippings, and he just didn't perform the level that he could have in that third fight.
I look at it. I don't think that he, got caught up with being, I'm the champ. He doesn't have that mentality, but he didn't do anything to improve himself in taking on Figueiredo that third time. It was like, I've been there. I beat him last time. I'll beat him the same way. You can't look at things that way. You've always got to be looking and figuring out what's another way that I can attack him that he's not going to be expecting that can cause him problems. That's what I believe Moreno needs to do in this fight. You have got to bring more than what was brought before when you're facing somebody 2, 3, now 4 times. You can't expect the fight to play out the way it played out the last time. That's not going to happen.
No, I agree with you. Look, I guess let me reword what I was trying to say, okay? Because I want to make sure the media doesn't get a hold of this.
Are you always being misquoted? Is that what it is?
Yes. They just take one word and they try to twist it and make a story out of it so they get some clicks. No, really what it comes down to is, for me, what I meant by with Moreno is reading the paper clippings. It wasn't so much that. Is that he was I never really saw him before he was the champ being so active at the UFC events, at appearances. Now I know that comes with being the champ. I get all that. But what you just said kind of also adds to it as well, is he didn't spend the time to get better in different ways to attack him. But it's hard to also get better when you're out all the time. You have to be able to say no.
Yeah.
And I understand the excitement. I mean, like, I get like, you're the UFC champ, man. Get it. Go out there, enjoy it, be part of all that. But there comes moments to you, no, not this weekend. I can't do it. I've got to spend my time resting, getting ready for my improvements, whatever it is. I saw a little bit of that because, like you said, in that third fight, I didn't see the improvements.
No,
it was the same story. Whereas Figueiredo went and started training with
Cejudo.
With Henry, with the Cejudo, they worked up a great game plan. It wasn't the most exciting win, but it was a win. And when you're talking about the pay difference between being the champ and not being the champ, I give two shits whether it was excited or not. If you're going to wrap that fucking belt around my waist and I get that check in the back that says I won, that's all that matters. That really, like I said, winning solves everything at the end of the day. And winning that belt means a lot to a lot of people, and it definitely means a lot to your bank account.
Absolutely. Well, if you look at the first fight, Devinson came out there and thought, I'm going to run you over. And in a lot of ways attempted to do that. Sometimes was a little successful in, making those things kind of happen. But Brandon was able to turn it around on him. He got him tired at times, and it turned the fight around. Second time, in my opinion, Figueiredo came out saying, the first time was kind of a fluke, and he came after him the same way. And Brandon just took it over.
Yeah, took control.
Third time, after going and training with Cejudo, fought a completely different fight, and he walked away with the win. And that's what you have to do in these situations when you are fighting someone now that you have been in that cage with for multiple rounds. You can't just come with the same game plan. You can't come with the same style. You got to have some things that you got to put out there that cause him to go, oh, that's different.
I agree. But Moreno also did some stuff that was inside the cage. That third fight, there was a little, it was not showboating. It was like not focused on what he was doing and should be doing in the cage. There was a little, as I recall, there was like hands up, a little bit of this, like what was certain things like it didn't land, just kind of those type of things. I enjoy, if people ever watch me fight, I enjoyed walking out, having fun, smiling, laughing, having a great time. But I tried to stay focused the best I could on the performance. He seemed like he lost a little bit of that focus in that third fight. And if he gets that back, I think you're going to see another Brandon Moreno that's like the second and the third fight. The second and the first and the second.
Yeah.
Because he was laser focused in on, this is my task. It doesn't matter what you do. I'm going to do this. I felt like he lost a little bit of that in that third fight. That was me.
Yeah.
Next.
All right, Ben.
All right. We have another confirmed fight. I think we did touch on this a couple of weeks ago as like a speculated replacement fight. But UFC 282 had lost Mitchell. I can't remember who his original opponent was, but he did get a replacement, and it's against Topuria.
I was trying to remember who the original opponent was.
I'll try and find it right now.
I really don't give a shit, John. This is a fucking great fight. I don't give a shit who the other guy was. Fucking see you later, buddy. This is a great fight. I'm excited, and I love how Bryce Mitchell called him out, and because Topuria or whatever has been calling him out and mentioning his name.
Evlov,
which was a great fight.
That was a great fight too. All right, I take it back. I do care, but that's okay. I like this fight as well. This is going to be a great fight, man. Barn burner of a fight. I think you're going to see Mitchell come out and do what Mitchell does. Throw out some really shitty stand-up, get the fight to the ground, and try to dominate the top position.
His stand-up was not that bad in his last fight. I really got to give him credit, man. I was like, he's improving in his stand-up game, which is only going to help him in getting to that ground. I thought, I thought the same thing as you. Stand-up is just not that good. And when he starts taking on more of the upper echelon guys, they're going to start to expose that. And he's gotten better. Like, I enjoy Bryce Mitchell. I think he's fun. He's funny throughout, everything that he does. He's got a great personality. He doesn't really care about, I don't think he cares so much about the limelight. He likes being just who he is from Arkansas, being a farmer and everything like that. But he is up against it with Topuria. Topuria is the real deal. This is going to be a tough fight because it's not, the takedowns are not going to come easy against Topuria. And if you recall,
on the feet, it's just way different.
Yeah, and there was a guy named Ryan Hall who did take on Topuria, and that didn't go well. And Ryan Hall's a pretty goddamn good grappler himself. So
but Ryan doesn't have good wrestling. I've trained with Ryan. His wrestling's not good.
You're right.
So,
it's not.
Yeah,
I think Bryce Mitchell's is much better, but stand-up wise, Topuria definitely has an advantage in this fight. But
yeah, not even by a little bit, a lot.
By a lot.
But I think Bryce Mitchell understands that that he is going to be backed against the wall here in terms of the ability on the feet. He's going to have to move his head offline, close that distance. He's going to have to put pressure on Topuria to where he's going to have to circle out recklessly and carelessly and potentially leave his hands down as he's doing it. So I look for Bryce Mitchell to throw some straight punches to get him to the fence. And as he gets closer, maybe a couple little haymakers that potentially will keep him caged against the fence, lock the hands. And Topuria seems to me like he's a strong fighter. He possesses some big power in his hands.
Yep.
But I don't know, man, these fucking country bumpkin motherfuckers like Bryce Mitchell.
Hey,
they
man,
are strong, man.
When you are throwing around hay bales and pigs and things like that, it ain't easy.
Yeah. He may not look like he is strong in that picture right there, but
country boy
holy
strong.
shit, I bet she is, man. I gotta be honest, man. When I grabbed fucking Matt Hughes, I should say he grabbed me. Okay, I was like, holy shit. You got those leather hands and just that grip, and I was like, man, I used to goof around trying to like body lock him, and it was a no-go. Yeah. It was a no-go. And I kind of put Bryce Mitchell in that Matt Hughes category. Like, he's a guy that just, he makes it work. He's a farm boy, and not just a farm boy, but he's a country boy. And so I'm rooting for him, but I'm also like, man, Topuria's he's got all the tools and the weapons to make Bryce Mitchell a highlight reel.
Yep. He does,
So,
but
I'm excited for the fight.
It's one of those fights, there's so many variables that you look and you go, I can see both guys winning. And that's what you want to see. That's the kind of fight you want to see. So
yeah, exactly.
Nice matchup.
Next.
All right. And then also making its way onto the card of UFC 282, Rosas Jr. Is making his UFC debut after the Dana White's Contender Series fight. And this is after Bo Nickel falls off. So he was the other Dana White's Contender Series kind of star, whatever you want to call it, like prospect. And so
Star, damn.
Well, prospect is probably the better term. And so he fell off.
You better get that right before like the media comes after you. You get that right, that terminology right.
So now he has the potential to become a star at UFC 282, and you can only imagine this kid's going to be on probably the opener for the pay-per-view.
Well, if this is the opener for the pay-per-view,
that was purely my speculation, John.
Boy, I'll tell you what. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that. Like, I nothing against Mr. Rosas Jr., but when you are I don't know how to say this the right way without, I'm not against him at all, and I am 100% looking forward to seeing him, but his age is, 17, 18?
Yeah, 17.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is not a man. Okay, and I'm just telling you, there is a fucking difference when you start getting into these things, and he could be a fantastic grappler. He can be all those things. There just comes a point where just you're aging, maturity, and what strength, just the strength that comes with it, and the density that comes with it. It's just different. And when you are his age, fighting against men, you are fighting an uphill battle. you have to be much better than they are for you to get that win. And I'm not saying he's not, but this is, yes, everyone gets all excited. Oh, he's a young guy, he went on Dana White's thing, and that's great, and all that. But sometimes, be careful what you wish for, because things come, and don't rush them. Just don't rush them, because they will come in due time. And what's meant to be is meant to be. And if you're meant to be that fighter that's fighting in the UFC, you will get there. But sometimes when you get there and you're that young, you're not prepared compared to the people that you're going to be facing. And so I hope he does really well. I really do. Just being that young, it scares the hell out of me.
They have limits for college basketball players or high school basketball players. They didn't used to. That's how you got Kobe Bryant and LeBron.
Yep. Kevin Garnett.
Kevin Garnett is who I was searching for. You've got stars that have come out of high school, and been stars there. But this young man is probably fresh out of high school. Who knows? Maybe he's still in high school. At 17, I was still in high school. There's reasons why they have those rules, John. Let's just say he gets handed a check for $30,000. I don't know what he's making. Let's just say he wins. He makes $30,000. That's the most money that guy's probably ever seen. Now, what does he do with that? And then it's not just that. If he ends up being the first fight on the pay-per-view, you put him under the bright lights at 17. You don't think so?
I don't think so. I really don't.
Okay.
I think there'll be a preliminary fight. I think it'll be he might be, near that, if they're really looking towards pushing him, maybe, he'll be the prelim highlight fight or something like that. I don't think he's going to be on the main card.
Got it. If he ends up being on the main card, I'm just throwing this out there.
Yeah.
The bright lights, big time stage, let's say he gets a great win.
He's not prepared for it because there's no way he has dealt and been in those situations yet.
That's one, he's not prepared for it. Two is, there's no going backwards. At 17 years old, now you've been on the main card pay-per-view. You're not going to go backwards now. You have to fight guys that are the next now another little level up. Not much, but a little level up. But like you were saying,
Dave,
17 years old, you're not even a man.
Mr. Rosas, what's his record?
Here, I'll get it right now.
Rosas.
Yeah, I look at it, John, and I'm thinking to myself, he gets a win. I hope he does.
He's 6-0.
Oh, he's 18 now. He's 18. Just turned 18. It's October 8th was his birthday. So he's 18 now. He's not 17 anymore.
Let me see who he's fought real quick.
Okay.
And where? There, thank you. Mexico. Yeah. But you take a look. Submission. TKO.
Yeah.
Okay. Dana White, he had the decision. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I don't want, like, you can't go backwards. So once you're if you are the opening fight on the prelim, on the main card, you can't go backwards now. You've been on the pay-per-views. They can put you still on the prelims, but your competition is going to go up. You're going to go up a little bit, which it should, but it's at 18 years old. Let's slow play you. Let's see, also you're going to build, if you get that win on that pay-per-view on the opening fight, that star power you're going to get off of that. Are you ready at 18 years old to deal with that?
That's it.
That along with a check for 30. Let's say 30. I'm throwing low end 30. I'm thinking this young kid's probably got a check for. I'm thinking he's getting a check for probably 20 and 20 or 25 and 25. He might be making 50.
Not coming off the Dana White.
You don't think so?
Not coming off.
You're thinking
that
15
contract.
You're thinking 15 and 15
or 12 and 12.
But still, that $30,000 is a lot of damn money.
Yeah.
For someone who probably didn't have any money growing up. I mean, or even if he did have money, he's never had that, like that. It was probably either his parents. I don't know the story on him. So could have been his parents' money, but like, he's probably never had that amount of cash in his hand. He's going to go to the bank and cash and be like, oh shit, I can conquer the world. No, he can't. But it's a big step, John. It's a big step. And I agree with you. At 17, 18, and 18 years old, you're fighting men. There's that old saying, "Oh, I got my old man strength." Well, your old man strength doesn't normally come to your 26, if you mature a little sooner, 27, 28, 29, 30, somewhere in there. You start getting that old man strength around 28, 29, 30. That's kind of where your prime hits too, to be honest.
Yeah.
So you're in that prime area where you're starting to fill out. You're starting to really, that's where Chase Hooper's kind of like a little bit behind. He's not quite there yet. He's got to fill out. Okay. I feel the same way about Chase Hooper as I do with this young man.
He's the exact same type of fighter. Okay. Exact same thing. He's a submission guy. Rosas is a submission guy. Yeah, he's a problem as far if the fight hits the ground. He knows where he's at. He knows what he's doing, and he can keep himself from being hurt. But we've seen guys. Look at Mickey Gall. Look at what happened with Mickey Gall when he came into the UFC. And this is what happens. And this is saying nothing against the UFC. Mickey Gall wanted to be there. His whole thing, I want to fight. I want to fight CM Punk, right? Let me fight Phil Brooks. Okay. So then once you beat Phil Brooks, now what? Now who are you going to fight? And that's the problem. Yeah. They can only give you a lower rung opponent for so long. They don't have a whole lot of lower rung opponents. They got to bring someone in for you to try to build you and do these things. And they can only do it for so long. And eventually you're going to have to fight someone that's real, that can deal with your talents. And then, as you say, where do you go from there? Yes, this is your dream to be where you're at. I understand that. But sometimes it's better to let things mature. And you see guys like Yuri Prochaska. Take a look at him. Look at where he's at. He could have gone to the UFC much earlier. They offered him a contract. And he said, no, I still need to mature. I still need to get more experience. And he did. And look at where he's at now. That's a guy who's being smart with his career. I'm not saying anything against this kid. I swear I only wish him the best. I just worry that being that young and being at that level, it's not an easy road.
No. There was that. I heard a story that the same thing happened with Paddy Pimblett, is that the UFC came to him a while back and said,
yes,
hey.
They did.
And he said, no. He said, no, I need more time.
That's right.
And so he signed back as a fighter. Warriors. He's gotten better. Yes. Brilliant. I mean, that's someone who has his head. He's got his head on straight. He understands what the end goal is, because once you get to the UFC, they're all tough. Sure, you may get an easy win here and there, but they're all tough. They're all tough, and that really comes down to how the fight presents itself. That person that you thought was gonna be an easy fight could fucking take you 5 rounds. You know what I mean? Like, I've had fights like that where I thought the fight was gonna be super easy. Shit, I got in there. I was like, holy shit, KJ Noons. Fuck, I thought I was going to walk right through him. That shit didn't happen. It was a horrible. Nam Fan. I fought Nam Fan. I thought that was going to be a fucking super easy fight. That didn't happen. It was just a guy who was always in my face. I'm like, shit. So the fact is, these young guys, they're not really getting to experience those type of fights at a lower level. And so that's just rounds. That's just time in the cage that you need to develop and understand how to handle those scenarios and those situations. So it makes for interesting content. It makes for I'm interested in him a lot because I wish him the very best, man. At 18 years old, you look at the NBA, you look at the NFL, you look at baseball and all these major league sports. They're not bringing kids in right out of high school anymore. There's a reason for it, is that history has shown that not all of them are Kobe Bryant. Not all of them are Kevin Durant. Not Kevin Durant, but LeBron and what was the other one? Kevin Garnett. They're not all like them.
Nope.
A lot of them fail, and I hope he doesn't fail. I hope the UFC puts him in a situation to succeed.
Yeah,
that's all. Next.
All right. Well, getting away from somebody making their debut, let's talk about a legend of the sport, GSP, who, and I'm going to pose a question to you guys like this: is he just hungry to compete again? Because he's saying that he's out of his UFC contract, and that he understands that he's in the entertainment business, and so he's open to boxing and grappling. And I just can't help but think he's going to end up doing one of these big boxing bit fights.
Well, I will tell you this. Is it possible? Sure. Anything's possible. But there has to be certain elements involved when you're looking at someone like George St. Pierre. First off, George St. Pierre does not like fighting. He's kind of like Frank Shamrock. Frank Shamrock did not like to fight, but he was good at it. He was good at it. And George St. Pierre was good at it, no doubt about it, but he doesn't really like it. So that's one element when you look at it. So he's not coming back because he misses it. He doesn't miss it. I don't think he really cares about the fame part that much. That's really not, George has never been that interested in, how famous he is. He's got enough fame where he's going to be fine for the rest of his life with whatever he gets. So then it comes down to one thing, and that's money. And now anybody can look and say, in the end, yeah, for that amount of money, I'll do it. And that's really what I think it's going to come down to. Right now, George is not in any type of financial problems. He's got a lot of money. He can live the rest of his life very comfortably and not have to work another day or train another day or fight another day in his life. But if they offer him enough money, I think there's always the possibility. But as time goes by, that possibility and that window gets smaller and smaller.
I saw a video of him today because I follow him on Instagram. That fool is out there doing hurdlers out there warming up.
He's crazy, dude.
Overcast and looks freezing out there. I'm like, what is this guy doing right now? You are got to be out of your damn mind. And that's why I fucking follow him, because I love him to death. I love watching that guy, man. Like, I see all of his videos he does. I see what he's doing. Like, he's taking care of his body. Like you said, financially, he's okay.
Yep.
He doesn't have to do anything. He gets to enjoy doing what he wants to do. That means waking up, doing his, he does his cold plunges in the morning. He uses this like little horseshoe looking thing for his different types of pull-ups and like dips and different types of gymnastic type movements that he does on those things. He's a fun follow, man. He's a really fun follow. And he's very respectful to everyone. Anytime I've ever met him and been around him, every time I've been around him, he's such a classy guy. Yeah. He's absolutely just a really, really nice guy. He's fun to be around. Do I think he'll fight? I don't want to say too much because I'm not media and I don't like to try to break stories. So I want to make sure there is talk. There is talk that he is talking about doing something. That it's a real talk, but like you said, just like he talked about when he was during the Jake Paul fight. How come you and Anderson never fought in the UFC? Well, there was, what did he say? The equations just weren't, the things didn't align. Well, we all know what that was.
Yeah, it's called
money. The money didn't. Yeah, the money didn't align. I wanted this, Anderson wanted this, and we both wanted this, and the UFC said nope, and they didn't want to pay that.
That's right.
Okay. Now, if you can get GSP versus Jake Paul for a lot of money, is it possible? It's going to have to be a lot of money if it is. If you get Jake Paul, or if you get GSP versus Nate Diaz, there's a potential for a lot of money. What's the money draw? What's the money grab? That's where you're at right now. He's not in a contract. I could see him doing boxing. He was training boxing a lot a couple months back, and he was posting a lot of videos about it.
Even before that, he was training with Freddie Roach when he was fighting MMA.
I know even before that. Exactly. I understand that, but I saw like a stint where he was actually posting a lot more of them. So it looked like he was going to do something in the boxing realm. Whatever. When the potato chip thing was around, remember I saw him do a lot more of the boxing stuff when the Dorito chip thing was around.
Dorito chip.
No, I agree, though. He doesn't like to box. I would love to see him fight one more time. I just don't know if I want to see him fight. If it's going to be against like a Nate, I would love it.
That'd be okay.
A Nate or a Nick, I'd do it. I'd love to see it. I don't want to see. I don't want to see him. What about him and Anderson?
Again, I don't have a problem with that. They're close to the same age. What's that? Boxing?
In boxing.
Yeah,
in boxing.
I don't have a problem.
You wouldn't mind seeing that fight? I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't mind.
Anderson's, obviously. When I say same age, obviously, if it's Nate Diaz, GSP's a little bit older. Same with Nick, just a little bit. If it's Anderson, he's younger, but they're all older. It's okay.
So would you veto the Jake Paul? Would you feel like nah?
Yeah, it's too old. It's too small. Let's just be honest. When George St. Pierre went to fight Michael Bisping, I can tell you I watched him weigh in, just in the, before the actual weigh-ins, a couple days before. He's wearing jeans, okay? Wearing jeans with a belt, takes his shirt off, takes his shoes off, has socks, jeans, belt, everything on, and he steps on the scale at 187. And he had eaten just that, because he was trying to eat. He couldn't even hold on to weight. I think he weighed 181 as nerves started to go. So, I mean, he's just not that big of a guy. And so how big could he be against Jake Paul? How much could he weigh in at? 185 maybe? 182?
No, he won't.
That's the whole
I say
point.
77.
Yeah. It's
I
like
think he weighs in at 77 to 80, somewhere in there.
And
he's
Jake Paul
shrunk.
can't.
He's shrunk quite a bit because he's gotten older.
Yeah, and Jake Paul can't weigh in at that. Jake Paul's going to weigh in at the least 185.
I would love to see Nate Diaz and George St Pierre in a
That'd be
boxing
good.
match.
That'd be good.
I'd love to see.
I have no problem with it.
They're both older. What's Nate? Nate's not. He's not
37?
He's not a big 70 pounder.
I think he's
37 years old.
Yeah, no, they match up as far as size.
I'd love to see that fight. Yeah, I'd like to see that fight. And there's a little history there too. Fought my brother. I got to get it back. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that. Next.
All right, moving on to this next story. TJ Dillashaw expects to be out for a year now, with 9 months basically where he can't train hard, or can't have like any kind of interactive training with other people because of a shoulder injury. So at 37 years old, he's looking at another year out, but does expect to fight again. What do you guys think about this?
I want to know how bad his shoulder really was, because I've had shoulder surgery, and I had fought Gilbert the first fight. I know I was younger than 37, so that maybe could be pretty big difference. But I had fought Gil. I was back training within just under 3 months. I fought Gil 5 months. So within 5 months, I had fought Gil for the first time. The recovery is just, and you could tell the way he trains, the way he looks at 37. Is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to take that same approach with your recovery when it comes to your shoulder and your knee and all these other things that you have. Your body's going to be banged up. You've got to take care of it. And I also think that this is, I don't want to sound, I love TJ Dillashaw. I love the sport. I love how he fights. I love his style. I think he's a fighter that didn't need to use PEDs. I think he's one of those guys. I don't think he needed it. Maybe maybe mentally he felt like he did, but I don't think he did. And I think some of these injuries, whether it's the knee, whether it's the shoulder, these are all things that the residuals from using. That's my take on it. And I don't know. I've been around wrestlers and athletes and fighters my whole fucking life. Soccer players, everybody. I played soccer competitively when I was younger. I wrestled, through college. I fought MMA my whole life. My life has been sports pretty much. And I know a lot of guys that have used, and normally they deal with a lot more injuries in terms of as they get older. Maybe they feel like brick shit houses when they're younger, but as they get older in that 35, 36, 37, things start to really tally up. And your ligaments and your muscles and all that stuff just doesn't hold together as well. And I don't know. I don't know if it was... I don't know his full, I don't know how long or whatever it was he was using PEDs, but the bottom line is he's 37, shoulder, knee. It's not looking good. I know he's going to come back. I know he will. You can tell he's a focused individual, John.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And he's driven. So that was my original point, was that I don't think he needed it. He's such a driven guy.
Here lies your problem. He's 37 years of age. He's had now 2 fights in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Now he'll not have another fight for another year. So it'll be 2 fights within a 4-year period before he has his next one, which will be the 3rd fight within 4 years. It's not good for him because there's nothing that's happening as far as he's advancing. With the injuries, he's having to fall back and then try to regain and come back to where he was. And, he's going to be 30, 8 years of age before he now is able to come back again. And in the bantamweight division, you're talking about a bunch of goddamn killers in there.
It's the best division in the sport right now. We've talked about this.
Speed is a huge element in that division. And as you get older, it doesn't improve your speed. And so, and TJ does live off of his movement. He lives off of speed. He lives off of being a guy that, creates a lot of angles. And I just look, and I really have enjoyed TJ as a fighter. I like him as a person. Yeah, the whole PED thing was a mistake, but it's not going to be an easy road. And I honestly don't think, just based upon the way things went down with his fight against Aljamain, and again, you can take nothing from Aljamain. Aljamain went out and did his job.
Yep.
I don't think the UFC is going to put him back in a title fight. Boy, he's going to have to beat everybody, and he'll be 40 years of age before that happens. I just don't see it happening anymore. So he's got to really look and say, why am I fighting?
Yeah.
Am I fighting, because I want, the paycheck? Okay. Am I fighting because my ego tells me, hey, I've got to stick with it? Okay. But if he's going to fight saying, I want to be the champ again, I just don't see that coming his way.
I mean, he's going to have like Glover type performances where he's finishing people. He's able to get them out of there.
But how long is that going to take?
I don't know, John. I don't know. And here's the other thing. At 205, there's like, I feel like the same way with the heavyweight division. There's like a handful of guys you got to beat, and they're all tough, sure, but they're the top 3 or 4, and that's it.
Yeah,
he has to worry about in that time frame these younger guys that are coming up in this
and getting better,
and getting better. And then the guys that are there and established right now are just fucking stone cold killers.
Yeah.
I mean, like you look at Peter Yan, and you're like, dude, I know he dropped in the rankings, but you're like, fuck, I don't want to fight that guy. Like that guy's just a dog. He's going to fucking come after you. Sean O'Malley's, he's a little bit of a problem for TJ. The reach, the range, the speed, all that stuff is a little bit of a problem. Sean showed a lot in his last fight against Peter.
Yeah.
And if you look at how he fights, and you take a little bit, John, of what of how Dominic Cruz fights. They're very similar. And now look how Dom is slowing down, and look at how TJ is starting to still.
Look at what happens when you slow down just a little bit.
Yep.
It makes a huge difference.
When you lie, and I've said this for the longest time, guys like Roy Jones Jr., he relied on his athleticism so much.
Yep.
But then he got caught, and then he got caught again, then he got caught again. And that just stacks up. Problems. When you're an athlete that relies strictly on not strictly on your athleticism, they're very smart fighters, but your athleticism is a lot of what you do in that cage.
It's a lot of who you are.
Yeah, the speed of these younger guys and potential of timing you because they see it coming because of their speed, it poses problems. I don't think he's going to be out in a year. I can't see him being out a year, not with a shoulder. He had to have had a serious, not just labrum tear, he had to have a rotator cuff. I mean, I've had friends that rotator cuffs and labrum tears, everything like that, and they've been able to come back within 6-7 months. So if he's real strict with his recovery, I think he'll be back. I think he'll probably get back in the cage by 6 to 8 months, somewhere in there. But that is a long time off. 37 years old.
37, yeah. 38.
Next.
Yeah.
All right. Next story. Staying in the bantamweight division, but it's not an injury this time. It's just Aljamain Sterling saying that he doesn't want to fight basically until 2023. He says that champs don't really fight more than 2 times a year. So I'm not totally sure if that's like a real thing. But then he says, unless he needs to basically catch up on the things he wants to do outside of MMA. And so, he has no like urgent plans to fight. He wants to take a break. He's earned the break, and he wants to focus on things outside of the cage. So we might not see him, till the end of the next year. What do you guys think about that?
I think he's right. When I say I think he's right, I would like to see him fight. It's not it, but again, this is where in the whole his whole thing with TJ Dillashaw and his fight. Look at Aljamain Sterling did his job. He went out there, he trained his ass off. He got in the cage with TJ. It doesn't matter, it wasn't anything as far as he did nothing wrong. He performed the way he was supposed to. When TJ, couldn't, get his shoulder back. That's not on Aljamain. Aljamain's there to whip his ass, and that's what he did. And he's still the champ. He defended his title, and it's nice that someone like Henry Cejudo wants to compete against him, by a certain date. Like I think he was talking February of 2023 or something like that. But this is what you can do when you're the champ, and you say, yeah, I've earned it. I want a little time off. Okay, if you want to fight, you can fight. If you want to take a little time off, he's earned that. I don't take it away from him. I think he's right. And this is what you can do when you got the title. Sure, there's guys that want to take you on, guys that want to get that belt. And you can sit there and kind of dictate. If you hold out too long, obviously the UFC is going to either, tell you, hey, we need to have a fight, or they're going to start doing an interim. But I can't take anything away from him. He's right.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to have, if the UFC called him and said, hey, we need you to fight in February, March, April, he'd probably do it. Yeah. Just to be honest. He'd probably do it.
Dude, he's pushing buttons, and that's okay. He's in that position to do it.
Exactly. I mean, look, the first fight, how he won the title, he got a lot of flack, and we gave him some flack. But guess what? He came back and he beat Peter Yan. And to me, I thought he won the fight. And I think people were talking about, no, Aljamain Sterling won the fight. Then he had a great performance again. He did what he was supposed to do against TJ.
Yep.
Look, you can't ask anything more of the guy. The guy's going out there. He's doing his job. He's performing.
Yeah.
He did a great job. That's what he was supposed to do. He won the fights. Now, if he wants to take time off, especially right now, he spent this last year basically proving a lot of people wrong, including myself. That I didn't think he was going to get past Peter the second fight. And I said it. Yeah, I said that too. So I got to give him some respect, man. Give him a lot of love. Look, he's a talented fighter. I've always said that.
Oh, no doubt about that.
He took some digs at me, and I'm okay with it because I get where he's coming from, But I'm okay with it. Look, I'm not one of those guys. Look, I've had media come at me as of recently. I've had fighters come at me before. You guys are not going to always agree with what I have to say, and I'm okay with that. But I'm also going to sit up here and tell you guys when you guys do something wrong. But I'm going to tell you guys when you guys are fucking fighting outstanding. And that's my point, is that he did his job against TJ Dillashaw. He made it look easy. TJ popped the shoulder. He had nothing to do with that. Maybe he did. Maybe the way he took him down. Maybe whatever. Yeah. However, bottom line is, during the holidays, you want to spend that time with your family, enjoying time, and he deserves it. Let him do it. Other fighters, if you guys want to fight, Henry Cejudo and Sugar, he called him Sugar Sean Meth Head or something like that. I don't know.
Meth something.
It was like Sugar. Yeah. Anyway, I thought it was pretty. It was King of Cringe, but it was
Sugar Methaphine or something like that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. But it was pretty funny though when you read it. But then there's fights to be made. You can have other fights. You don't need to have an interim title. That fight between Sean and say Henry, that won't happen anyways. Probably till January, February if it did. And when that fight does happen, now that gives ALJO some time to get ready for whoever wins that fight. It does.
Yep.
For him to take off until March, it's not a problem. Let him enjoy his time, man. His family, his family. I don't know if he has kids, but if his girlfriend or wife or whatever, and his family, enjoy the holidays, man. Enjoy Thanksgiving. Take some time. Go on a cruise. Do whatever it is. Enjoy your Christmas. Spend your time with your family. Enjoy your New Year's. Go to another country and celebrate New Year's somewhere. Enjoy it. Just enjoy being the champ. That's the best. You work this hard, man. Don't let it all just go by.
Ain't gonna be there forever.
It won't. And like I said, the UFC, if they do call him, he will come back. I don't think he's gonna give him a hard time. I think one thing about ALJO, and I think it's a lot of these fighters, when they get that champ money, they don't want to leave it on hold too long. You're not going to argue with the people that are signing the check. So, just make sure you're still training in there. Make sure you continue to try to get better. That's all. That's the biggest thing. Make sure you're always trying to improve. Spend your time training a little bit. Stay fresh. Keep doing you, man. You're doing something right. Got to give you love. You hear that, ALJO? I gave you some love, brother. Gave you some love. Okay? Stop fucking yelling at me, cursing at me. Jeez.
ALJO, you can still yell at me. It's okay.
It's all right. All right, next, Dave.
All right, we'll do second to last one because I don't want to end on this one. But Ali Abdulaziz is saying that Rumble's not looking great. Wondering, Josh, if you have any insight here that you can share, and just kind of what's going on with him. Do we think we'll see him back in the cage?
I don't know if we're going to see him back in the cage. I do.
I don't think we're going to see. I don't think we're going to see AJ back in the cage, and he doesn't need to get back in the cage.
Yeah.
This is not about AJ fighting again. This is about AJ becoming healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just be honest.
Exactly what John said. I don't think he's going to fight again.
No.
Biggest thing is he's got a big uphill battle. It's when I text and talk with him, he sounds like he's doing all right, but it's not something I want to talk about. So I'm just gonna be honest. Like, I'm not the media. I'm not here to pry, and I'm not here to post shit.
You're not here to
break
story?
stories. I'm not here to break stories. You know, he's a really close friend of mine, and the biggest thing is just making sure he gets healthy and has a long life. That's the biggest thing.
I think the most important thing here is exactly what, Ali, who sometimes, talk about a guy doesn't like what I say, but he's right. You know what? Pray for AJ. Everyone out there, if you can, hit your knees at night and just give a little bit of a prayer for AJ getting healthy again. Because, when you're used to being someone like AJ and you're healthy throughout your life, you don't think anything about it until all of a sudden it's not there. And when it's not there, it's terrifying. And he just he's doing everything he can right now to get himself healthy. That's all that anyone should care about. Fighting doesn't have an ounce of fucking worth right now. It doesn't mean anything. The only thing that's important is AJ. God bless you, brother. I'm praying for you. I hope you feel better, and I hope you are healthier soon.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Like,
he's a great guy. One of the nicest guys you can meet.
Yeah, he's a good dude. So, yep, nothing but prayers, and the best we can do is just send him prayers, loves, all that stuff that you guys can on social media. He does go through it. He does flip through it. Doesn't reply, but he does see it. So just make sure if you guys have opportunity, if you guys got his number, man, send him a text. So, all right, next.
All right, we will wrap up on this one because we can't end on that. So just to really mess with Josh, I want to see his reaction to Chael Sonnen saying that he doesn't think Islam can take Michael Chandler down in a potential fight.
That's right, Josh. Chael says that Michael Chandler cannot be taken down by Islam Makhachev, and that Chael has never, ever been beaten. He's never been hurt. He's never ever lost a round, and he has never been wrong.
Yeah, you had me till the very end.
Love you, Chael.
I was gonna ride Chael all the way to the very end on that situation. Go ahead. What do you want me to? Let me hear the video. You have the video? Can you play the video?
I don't know if you can play it.
I can play it if it's there. I don't know exactly where it is in the video. Let me see if somebody clipped this.
It's all right. Okay.
Go ahead and find it, Dave, because one of the things, this is what happens.
All right.
No, this is good.
I have a clip. Do you want a clip?
All right,
yeah, let's hear the clip.
I want to hear it. Let's hear it.
All right, let's see. Give me just a second.
Chael fucking Sonnen. Come on, buddy. Jeez. Killing me right now.
The answer had better be Volkanovski.
Now he's saying Volkanovski, not Chandler.
Beat Islam, but Volkanovski can do the closest. And the only reason I say it had better, I don't mean that to scold you. I'm saying as a whole, that should be our answer because that's who's going to be next. That's what number one contender is supposed to mean. No.
Volkanovski's not taking him down either, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
He didn't say that Chandler was going to take Islam down. He said that Islam would not take Chandler down.
To be representative, a guy who has clearly shown he can beat the field, he can beat all the rest of the boys. There's just one question left. Can he beat the guy? I think Islam looks close to perfect. His style's a little bit dull. For me, that's a compliment. It is the basics that wins championship.
Hell.
If we had somebody and they fought all night with Islam and stopped Islam from getting on top, could we agree that that would be a victory to some degree? Because I don't think that Islam can go take Michael Chandler down. That's my belief.
Jesus.
I believe that Michael Chandler could stop the takedown. Moreover, if Chandler slips and goes down, I believe that Chandler can get back up with his feet, turn and face him, and start back in neutral. I believe that. I could be wrong, but that's why we tune in.
Yeah.
Chael P. Sonnen, man, you're my brother. I love you, but gosh, you couldn't be more wrong. He will take him down at will. Michael Chandler will not get up. He will be a turtle on his back. Now, he may be able to get up one time. I don't think so, though. I don't see it. There's no submission threat there whatsoever. None. There's an arm and guillotine. That ain't happening. That is not happening because he's gonna circle Chandler to the fence. Chandler's gonna try to throw a big shot. Islam is gonna just clinch up with him, and Chandler's gonna go for a ride. Look, you guys, I'm not here to like boast about my boy. He's done it all himself now. I don't gotta say shit.
I'm not here to boast about my boy. Well, what are you doing?
I don't gotta say anything. I'm simply saying that Chael, there is no way that Michael Chandler doesn't end up on his back and getting finished. There's no way. So and that's the thing, John. He's never been tapped. He's never been submitted.
Chandler?
I remember he tapped the air with Will Brooks. He kind of was lost in the cage and just kind of tapped the air. He got rocked.
When you get rocked.
Yeah, he didn't know where he was. You could count that as a tap. But
that's not a tap.
But when this thing hits the ground, there's a good chance that Michael Chandler gets submitted for the first time in his career. That side choke, I'm just being honest, it's a different type of squeeze. And Charles Oliveira proved that. Like he thought he was defending it, but he went from my hand was there to it was 8 or 9 taps before the ref got in. That's how tight that was. He was tapping fast.
Yeah.
And Michael Chandler's not going to tap fast, but he may go to sleep. But it's going to end up being a submission, I believe. He doesn't have to stand with him on the feet. Chandler's explosive on the feet. He's got good power in his hands. He is getting a little bit older, but this fight will hit the ground. I'm trying to think who. I think Will Brooks took him down. Then somebody else, Benson reversed him a couple times. That for sure. Let's just say Chandler does try to wrestle with Islam. If he hits the ground, he will sweep him, he will reverse him, and he won't get up. Like it'll be that kind of match. And everyone, I know you guys are like, oh, you're just stroking for your boy again. I was right last time. I was right about Khabib and Justin when you guys said that Justin could stop his takedowns because he was a good college wrestler. It ain't going to happen, man. These guys are, I kid you not, I've seen top-level wrestlers grab their single leg, and these guys just hold them with one forearm and just let them get tired holding their leg up. And they're laughing at other wrestlers that are all like NC2A wrestlers, just laughing at them going, this guy's not taking me down. They're just having fun with it. This guy's not taking me down. And that's what happened, and it happened multiple times. And so I don't see Chandler. Chandler's not at the level of Ed Ruth in wrestling. And I've seen it multiple. It's not the level, not the level of fighting either. Chandler's a better fighter though than Ed Ruth.
Than Ed Ruth, yes.
And that will make a difference. And that will make a difference on the ability to get the takedowns.
He didn't come close to doing what Ed Ruth did in his career.
No. And so that's my point. My point is that I've seen Islam wrestle with Ed. I've seen Khabib wrestle with Ed. I've seen Islam. And like I said, I've seen Islam and Khabib wrestle with jiu-jitsu guys, top level jiu-jitsu guys. And I saw what I saw him do against Charles Oliveira. Khabib did a little bit different with the submission stuff. Like he didn't attack a whole lot. Khabib is someone who controlled you, make you pay for all your mistakes, make you pay for everything. Islam is he is different and he will work for those submissions. He will try and he'll put himself in those positions to really tap you, make you work your ass off. He'll squeeze your neck until you get tired. And then he'll just let you go a little bit and he'll squeeze it again until you tap. Like he's nasty, man. So no, he's not. To answer your question, Chael, or to talk about Chael's video, Chandler's going to end up on his back a couple times if he is able to get up, and he ain't getting up. I don't think he's getting up. So, all right. Man, what do you got, John? You think I'm wrong or no?
No, I absolutely.
Am I stroking my boy? Am I stroking my boy too much? Did I go overboard?
I'm being honest. In this one, Islam would be able to take Michael Chandler down.
Yeah. All right. See, I told you guys, man. I got fucking Big John on the fucking dark side now. He's an Islam fan. Finally, he's an Islam fan.
No,
Ali, if you're listening to this, man, I've got Big John now on the dark side.
I'm the dark side.
I know. No. John's always been a fan. He's just got to give me a hard time.
I've said it for a long time. The guy is phenomenal. Here's the one difference I do, and this is what I've always said about the difference between Khabib and Islam. You're right. Islam will go for the submission long before Khabib does. And it was funny because in Khabib's last fight, His last fight against Justin Gaethje, I saw a difference. And the difference that I saw is Khabib is the guy that his way of beating you is to break you. He wanted to break you. He didn't want to submit you. He wanted you to break. He wanted to prove that he could mentally and physically break you in a fight. And he did it over and over and over in fights against guys. And you could see it. And Islam is not that same guy. He doesn't go about fighting in the same fashion as Khabib as far as just dominating the position and making someone pay and doing damage. He does look for the submissions quicker. He does look for, I want to get the hell out of here, which in some ways makes him smart. You know, it's a smarter fighter. Get yourself out of there. Being in there can only cause possible damage to you, you know, as it goes on longer and longer. But, you know, he is definitely, when it comes to, you saw the submissions from Khabib against Justin Gaethje, and he did a great job. He went after the armbar, had the triangle, you know, and put him to sleep. But that was not the normal Khabib that we saw time and time and time again. We saw a guy that didn't go after the finish as far as finish by submission early in the fight. He went after breaking people. There's the difference.
There was a lot of emotions in that last fight. And there was a lot. I think he wanted to get out of there. I think he knew that his mom was waiting for the call. The fight was over. And I think he wanted to get it done.
Yeah.
Look, let's make this thing as fast as possible. He is Khabib and Islam both, because they're so close, but the two of them just coming up and training with them, they are fantastic people. They're great people. And so just understanding where he came from, his family, and how he speaks about his father, how he speaks about his mother. And I don't know if you've seen that video. There's a video going around. He said his father asked him, I think his father asked him about who's your favorite. He's like, oh, of course, mother, not you. He's like, if I have to choose, he said, mother first.
Yeah, she's
mother
a lot
first.
nicer than you.
And it was
She didn't make me wrestle bears. She didn't do any of that crap to me.
It was just great to see him have a sense of humor about it, but also be so lighthearted. But I talk about my father because he loves his father. I love my father. I love my father. I saw a video too. Somebody was trying to ask him a question, and they kept asking him questions about fights and fights and fights. And then somebody asked him a question about his father, and he's like, "Oh, okay. From now on, no questions unless about my father. Ask me about my father. Ask me." And so it was so great, the video, and he's like, "Oh, you want to ask it?" And so a female tried to ask something. He's like, "No, only about my father." He turned it back around to where the question was answered about his father, and it was great. And so it was a great video, and the video about him and his mother, I had mother first, and I thought it was just fantastic. They're good people, man. They're very good. They're good people. Not only just good people, but they're fantastic athletes and great fighters. Great fighters. So, all right, go to WeighingInPodcast.com. Pick up some of our merch there, hoodies. Or I'm not sitting in one of our hoodies, but I'm sitting in a hoodie. It's freezing here. It's freezing in California right now. And I didn't turn the heater on today, so I don't know why. But yeah, so anyways, pick up hoodies, got sweatshirts, coffee mugs, so you guys can stay warm during the holiday season. So hit those up. Long sleeves, got the old logos, new logos. And hey, go to WeighingInPodcast.com, pick up some of our merch. John, take us away.
Absolutely. For everyone out there, we hope that you are going to enjoy the fights this weekend. Do yourself a favor. Watch the fights with someone. If they haven't ever watched MMA, bring someone else into the sport and then bring them to the podcast. For everyone out there, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you.